It has been a very long time since I've sat down to film, at least probably 6 weeks. So if I'm a little rusty, I apologize. Today we're going to talk about Harry Potter. So I read Harry Potter, the first one, for the first time not too long ago. And people really seem to like that video. I've had a few requests on that video to get on with the series and do videos about the rest of the reading experience, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Basically, in February, I picked up Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the first time. So in this video, it's gonna act as sort of a review / my experience reading Harry Potter for the first time. Again, this is the Chamber of Secrets video. If you have not seen the first video in this series, definitely go and check that out. I'll put a little link in the iCard as well as in the description down below. So go and check out my review / reading experience for the first Harry Potter book first. I do plan on making this a full-on series on my channel. I'm hoping to get through the Harry Potter books maybe one a month, do one of these videos a month. I am not entirely new to the Harry Potter stories. I did grow up with the movies, so I do know a lot of what's going on in here, but I'm basically reading the books because A, I feel like I should have by now, and B, there's so many things that people talk about being exclusive to the books that you don't get in the movies, and those are the types of things that I want to experience. Anyways, getting on to Chamber of Secrets. Just so you guys know, this is going to be a spoilery review. Many things have happened so far. The most standout thing that is at the top of my list of talking points is Lockhart, just because I forgot what a wonderful character he is and how much I love him in the movies, and it's really sad that he's not really in Harry Potter more from what I remember. It's a really interesting reading experience so far, knowing a little bit, sort of kind of exactly what's gonna happen. It's really fun to read this and imagine if this was honestly my first encounter with this story, if I hadn't seen the movies. I think the author is doing a fairly good job of leaving like little red herrings here and there, making you think that you should be suspecting certain people and not suspecting other people. But I have noticed that the author is also leaving little hints that you wouldn't really pick up on if you were being introduced to the story for the first time and you didn't already know kind of who was behind everything in the end of the story. It's really interesting because the author makes sure that you don't forget about the person that it actually is without really pointing to that person at all. It's really, really interesting how they do that. So I'm talking about Ginny. I already said that this is a spoilery review, so I don't know why I was trying not to say her name, but I'm talking about Ginny. That's basically where I'm at so far. That's what I've experienced so far with this book, and I need to finish it. So I'm gonna do that over the next day or two, hopefully, and I will get to you with some more information. So it is the evening a few days later and I just had a shower. That's why my hair is kind of a mess. I just finished the book and I think I liked it more than I liked the first book. I think. I have thoughts. But it's kind of late right now and I kind of want to go to bed, so I will update you guys on those thoughts probably tomorrow. You want to say hi? Hello. It's been a few days. I've collected all of my thoughts on reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and I'm ready to talk about it. I much preferred book 2 to book 1. I often hear people say that book 2 is their least favorite book in the series. So I'm kind of wondering why that is, because for me, book 2 was a much better reading experience than book 1. Maybe it's a nostalgia thing. Maybe the next few books in the series are just that good that book 2 kind of fails in comparison. I did find that the writing in book 2 was a lot stronger than the writing in book 1. All aspects of the writing felt a lot more decisive and a lot more comfortable, which stands to reason with this being the second book in a series. I'm sure the author was a little bit more comfortable writing book 2. Just, it felt like it had a much more clear direction than book 1 had. But I am really interested in seeing what the next few books bring and how much the writing improves. Let's talk about characters. Lockhart's amazing. He is a terrible person, but he's a great character. That's when you know that you've got a good character, is like maybe they're morally gray or making bad decisions. You still like to read about them because they're entertaining. I thought he was a really entertaining character. Something that I thought this book did a really, really good job of was introducing distinct characters very quickly. And within a very short amount of time being introduced to them, you have a very good understanding of how they're going to act in any given scene that they're in the future. This can kind of, I guess, be seen as writing really simple characters, which is not necessarily where I'm going with this. With the writing being such that it kind of goes from a very simple middle grade into a more mature writing style, that might be one of the reasons why Harry Potter is so successful, is because it's going from that middle grade range up into the YA nearing adult range. And it brings the reader along in a way that very much so mimics what real life is like. Like, did you guys ever have that when you were younger, where you went to school and you couldn't imagine your teacher having a life outside of school? Like, they were to you what you saw at school, and they did not have a life outside of school. Whereas when you got into your upper grades and you got into like high school, for example, you started to realize that your teachers are people with lives, and like that they're much more complex. I feel like that's one of the things that makes Harry Potter so widely appreciated, is that spanning of the age range and that kind of that accuracy and like how a middle grader would see the world. If I had one criticism for this book, I kind of wish that Ron and Hermione had a slightly larger role later on in the book. They have a pretty decent presence throughout the whole book up until the end, and I totally understand having Hermione get petrified is kind of, you know, it raises the stakes kind of thing. I don't know, I kind of felt it was a little bit cheap in a way to have Ron and Lockhart get stuck behind the rock wall and have Harry have to go on his own. That felt a little bit weird to me, because then like Harry gets back and he starts talking to Dumbledore about everything that happened, and like people just believe his story even though there technically weren't any conscious witnesses, because I don't think Ginny was conscious at that point. I would have liked there to be a witness, or I would have liked to have like Ron and Lockhart with the memory charm on him, like just bumbling around trying to help during the whole fight scene with the basilisk. I feel like that could have definitely been good. I think for book 1, I preferred the movie to the book. For book 2, I preferred the book to the movie, but only just slightly. And there are some scenes, like for example, the basilisk slaying scene, that I preferred it in the movie. I think book 2 does kind of suffer a little bit from what book 1 suffered from, with like wrapping everything up in a nice neat little bow really quickly at the end, which again, I said in my first video, maybe that's just like a middle grade fiction thing. I don't really know. Overall, I give this book somewhere in the 4.25 to 4.5 range. I don't want to give it too high of a range because I feel like the books to come are probably going to outperform it in my rating scale. So I want there to be room between 4 and 5 for this book. I would say, as of right now, out of the 2 books that I've read, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is my favorite Harry Potter book. I'm hoping I can make these Harry Potter videos a monthly thing, although Order of the Phoenix might have some other ideas. Those are my opinions on the second book. Let me know, guys, if you have any similar opinions or differing opinions. If there's anything that I kind of failed to mention here that you think you'd like to know my thoughts on, leave that in the comments below and I will try to get to those questions as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe for future videos, just like this one, because I want to make this a series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!